Hello, it's Greg here from the Plastic Crap blog, and tonight, yesterday for you guys, Corvus Belli has just released something really exciting. It is some closed battle lists for Yujing. I suppose one of the reasons that these are so exciting and important is because of the recent leaving of JSA, and I suppose a lot of people were quite upset about now what do I do with my Yujing, and the benefit of this is that they've got something to tie them over until we see something new, such as the Invincible Army. I suppose also what is exciting is people have said in the past that these are ways of testing out, because Corvus Belli collects the data of how we use them, and is a way of testing out to see if it's viable, you know, such as Valheimer we had previously, and now this, and we've all been expecting that the Invincible Army is something to come. So really excited to go through it with you guys. Some really interesting lists that I think will work quite well, some not so much. So it's called the YuanDun. Probably saying that very wrong, but it looks pretty badass. So the YuanDun is notorious. These guys are known as the Butchers of Motobushima, and they're renowned, almost notorious I suppose, and infamous for doing some incredibly bad things in the JSA uprising to try and stop that. So these are the bad guys, which is pretty cool. So on to list A. So it's list A to E in here, and each are slightly different and some are vastly different. The thing that I'm most excited about when I open up this is that it's got a really interesting mix that you can't find elsewhere, I suppose, for the majority anyway, is that you can have a tag and fire teams. So I think that's a big choice that people make when they're coming from vanilla to sectorials, is that you have to make the choice that you're going to lose your tag to gain the benefit of fire teams, and that's really difficult, but in this one you don't have to, and there are some really interesting mixes. So in list A we've got the Guija, and then we've got some special fire teams. Now these fire teams you can't find elsewhere for all of the lists, which makes them very interesting and different. So within this list you're mixing a Crane rank, a Zhanying, and up to 3 Celestial Guards. So that's your fire team core. So you've got your 5-man link. What I quite like about this, and I'll zoom in a little bit so that it's a bit clearer for you guys on the screen. You've got 2 really nice hard-hitting units within this. You've got your Zhanying with your HMG, which with the +3 is going to bring you up to BS 15, and then you've also got a multi-sniper in there as well to get that long distance, and you've got smoke from the light smoke grenade launcher. Now within this list you've got also a odd duo that I'm not too sure about. So you've got the Yakong, which is a sniffer bot, paired up with your Rushi. Now the Rushi's kind of infamous for bunging a load of orders into, because it's got MSV and a Spitfire, which makes it a pretty brutal remote for 20 points. But when you're duoing them, I'm not really sure why or what I do with that, because granted it's a mid-range weapon, so you might have to move up the board a little bit, but I can't imagine myself moving it up that far. So I'd want the sniffer to sort of find out, to find things for it. So I don't really get that, to be honest, but I'm sure there's a use for it that I'm overlooking. Then in addition to that we've got your Kanren with your Holo Projector. So this is a guy I kind of see as deploying quite far forward, using the Holo Projector to dodge and confuse people that you're not there, so they miss, and then blowing their faces off when you come out of it with your Chain Colt. It's also got a monofilament weapon, so this might be something to run up, you know, re-hide in the Holo and then slice and dice. You know, potentially a tag maybe. CC19 is not too bad. And then you've got a Dakini Tapbot, which is a paramedic for bringing things back up. So likely that you'd want to keep these near your fire team. So then on to list B. Again, you've got another Guija, but you've got a different set of fire teams within this. What I quite like about this list is that you've got your Sofa Tech within your main link. So you've got your Doctor Engineer to go up and push buttons and do the mission, with your sort of transport carrier of the 5-man. You've got some really nice punchy weapons within this as well, in this list. So your pheasant rank is going to be with your Dakini to move up, which you've got a Red Fury and a multi-sniper rifle, which is quite nice. And then in your main hitting core fire team, you've got your missile launcher. And then you've got some boarding shotguns for up close and a combi rifle. So your main thing in that link is going to be using the missile launcher, which is okay, but you haven't kind of got a HMG or a Spitfire to sort of go in with that link, so that's a little bit of a letdown. But you've got 2 Camrens. Again, I would keep these up and then boarding shotgun the living bejesus out of people. So quite nice, not a bad list at all. So moving on to your list C. This one's okay, but I don't get how you would use it, if I'm honest with you. So you've got one of the favourite units in this army, which is Susan the Shujan, and that is the high, fast-running catbot that can you usually Spitfire or boarding shotgun someone, and that would be something that you would spend your whole 10 orders into, get round, and usually boarding shotgun people when they've set up poorly for a big alpha strike. Now you're running a Spitfire in this link, and it's duoed with a Yakong, which is the sniffer bot. And I think that's okay in the sense that that's going to find things maybe in an Ariadne army for you to then shoot, sniff them out. However, it's a lot slower than the catbot, so I don't really know how that would work in gameplay styles. You're going to have to limit, and you can't alpha strike as much. Not really a fan of that duo, if I'm honest, but it's an interesting team. Then what you've got in your main link is a bow troop, which is nice because you've got your MSV2 multi-sniper. So I suppose, yeah, you've got a few things I'll go through. So, and then you've got your Pheasant rank with your Red Fury, and then 3 Celestial Guards to bump up the points and get your orders in. I kind of see this as a little bit of a defensive link in the sense that the multi-sniper rifle is too good to be running up. Then you've got your 2 Terracottas with your HMG and one with a combi rifle forward observer. So I think that's really nice, but I would much prefer to have the Invincible in the link team with the HMG. I really, really would. It's brutal in the sense that it's got armor 3 and BTS 3. Don't know where that came from. But you'd have a BS 16 HMG with an extra burst. It'd be amazing. So maybe that's why they've not put it in there, because it'd be just a little bit too OP. Who knows? List D. So this one is quite interesting in the sense that you have got let me look at this a second. So you've got a Shen, that was it. You've got a Shen in there, which is very nice because you've got your MSV HMG, and that is part of your main fire team core. And I think that's going to be a really nasty, punchy list. So you've got your Sovatech, which is on its own, which is quite good because it's got the G-Synced Udbot, which you wouldn't be able to use if you were in the link team. So you can start to heal things. But in terms of running up to go push buttons, that's going to be quite a difficult challenge, and that's mainly because it's all on its own. You've got a baggage bot, so this list might be more centered around to capturing zones, and I say that because you haven't got a disposable weapon within this army list, such as a Panzerfaust, that you would be using it to reload. So this is something more to sneak in. So perhaps you might be running your fire team up so that it can cover and hold, whereas this would stay back and easily at 28 points capture a zone in your sort of deployment area quite easily with little else help. I quite like this one, apart from, whilst it's got the Wu Ming in there, I suppose that's really nice because everyone loves Wu Mings. They're beautiful, beautiful models. And they're really nice with their armor 4 and BTS 3. They're kind of kitted out with chain rifles, so you're going to be using your Shen to shoot most of the things, as well as your Pheasant rank with this Red Fury. But what you're I suppose that's 2 different fire teams, my apologies. And then as soon as you get up close, you're going to want to use your submachine guns to basically blitz things when you're in that sort of 8-inch range. So this is a really runny up fire team core. And then what you're going to want to do is use your shock ammo against armies such as Hak Islam and Steel Phalanx, where they've got the most no wound in cap and V dogged, because that cancels out those 1 wound models with that, and they'll instantly die. And save your sort of AP for maybe an Ariadne Kazakh sort of list. Things like that really would be my recommendations. The last but not least, we've got list E. And again, we're going back to having Guijas in this list. I quite like this one because it's got a mech engineer that will be able to heal your Guija. It's only got structure 3 like all of the other tags, and the difficulty with that is that if you're getting hit by, say, a heavy rocket launcher or a light rocket launcher or a Panzerfaust with fire, then it's going to burn off your wounds quite quick, so you want something to keep it up to full health with that. So I'd recommend having that around. You've also got your Canrens again, to do those nice hollow projector troops, but what I like about this is that you've got a Bowl with a shock marksmanship rifle MSV level 2. I have learned the hard way in a recent tournament that is nasty to be shooting things at, because it essentially makes Steel Phalanx's ODD kind of useless. The only downside of this list is that you've got a fire team of 4, not 5, so I mean, it's going to be really good for terms of movement. You get an extra burst, and you get 6th sense, but you've not got that +3. And if you had that, it would be really nice. So I'm a little bit sad to see that that's not in there. But you do have a nice missile launcher from Zhang Ying, so there's a little bit of a trade-off there. But yeah, like I say, I would much prefer that to be in a 5-man overall. So there we have it. I'm really excited to see how these are used, and kind of how that changes the meta a little bit. I think some of these are really nice. I particularly like having a mech engineer with a Guija, but I also kind of like having some of these 5-man lists, which are very nice. I think list B might be my favourite. I think it's got more utility in terms of ITS. So I think it's got more utility in terms of ITS for doing those button pushy missions. But you've definitely got some that cover the bases in terms of direct action, potentially maybe in the form of the list C. I think that's particularly nasty, but also list D with that Shen is going to tear stuff up. So let me know what you guys think. Will you be using any of these, and does it make you a little less salty that JSA walked out on you? Stay tuned for my next video where I'll be going through May's releases, and I'll catch you guys soon.